Today we're getting into a topic that most people see as just purely a gift, right? High intelligence.
Yeah, but it's more complicated than that.
Exactly. Our sources today, lots of research, personal stories, they actually paint a picture of some really unique struggles.
Things most people don't really consider.
Right. So our mission today is to uncover these 8 specific challenges that, well, maybe only highly intelligent people truly get.
And maybe before we jump in, we should clarify what we mean by highly intelligent. It's definitely not just an IQ score.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Hawking even called IQ tests a bit simplistic, didn't he?
He did. The sources really emphasize that intelligence is multidimensional, complex.
So if it's not just a number, what's the core thing? What defines this kind of mind, based on what we've read?
It really seems to be about the depth of analysis. These folks are, incredibly gifted at pulling concepts apart, seeing connections everywhere.
Understanding the why behind things, not just the what.
Precisely. They build these complex mental maps, see how everything links together. It's like their brain is constantly running this really sophisticated pattern matching software.
Okay, and that constant deep processing. That sounds like where the problems might start when interacting with, well, the rest of the world.
It often does.
Yeah.
Which brings us nicely to the first challenge. Finding small talk absolutely mind-numbingly boring.
Yeah, I can imagine. The sources mentioned they tend to avoid what they see as, like, unimportant details.
Exactly. They're not really interested in rehashing the game or...
Right.
What was the example? The neighbor's new lawn flamingo.
Right, that one. It's not their preferred topic.
No, they'd much rather talk about big ideas, art, science, abstract concepts, philosophy, things that make them think. Small talk just feels exhausting.
A waste of mental energy.
Like using a supercomputer for a basic calculator task.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels inefficient, which can make them seem a bit standoffish sometimes. And that connects right into the second struggle, doesn't it? How they choose their words so carefully, making them seem maybe reserved or too serious.
It does. This isn't really about shyness, though. It's more about precision, accuracy. Meaning, if they're going to say something, especially something important, they've likely already thought about it from, well, every conceivable angle.
Running through all the checks and balances internally first.
Yes. Backed it up with logic, considered the counter-arguments, so when they finally speak, it's often very considered.
But that internal vetting process takes time.
Yeah.
Right? Leading to those pauses in conversation.
It does. And in a fast-moving chat, those pauses can make them seem reserved, maybe even a bit cold or overly serious, when really they're just processing.
Okay, so you've got the dislike of small talk, the careful, sometimes slow way of speaking. Put those together and you get struggle number 3. Social awkwardness.
Yeah, the classic awkward nerd stereotype, though, media obviously exaggerates it.
Obviously. But there's a grain of truth there. The sources suggest it's not just a trope.
No, there's research backing this up. It often comes down to a sort of cognitive trade-off.
A trade-off? Between what?
Between different kinds of intelligence. There was a study, the Davidson study in 2015. It found that people with very high IQs sometimes have, relatively speaking, a lower EQ.
EQ, emotional intelligence quotient.
Right. And EQ is crucial for things like, reading social cues, forming relationships, navigating tricky social situations smoothly.
So the brain power is focused more on the analytical side, potentially leaving less bandwidth for the messier, emotional, social stuff.
That's one way the sources explain it, yeah. If your brain is optimized for logic and complex systems, the fluid, often illogical nature of human interaction can be genuinely harder to process quickly and intuitively.
It doesn't reduce down to neat, predictable patterns.
Not easily, no. Which can definitely lead to awkward moments or misunderstandings.
And that difficulty in social navigation, that must lead to struggle number 4. Real difficulty making good friends. Feeling isolated.
Oh, absolutely. Loneliness is a surprisingly common theme. A big part of it is that other people can find them intimidating.
Intimidating? Just because they're smart.
Yeah. People might feel like they can't keep up or that they sound stupid in comparison or just that they have nothing in common, so they might sort of shy away.
Which leaves the highly intelligent person feeling pretty alone. And then they face that question the sources posed. Do I have to sort of dumb myself down just to fit in?
It's a tough spot, but the advice usually is, don't do that. Don't compromise who you are. The better, though maybe harder path is to actively seek out other people who operate on a similar wavelength.
Find your intelligence sphere, buddies.
Exactly. People who appreciate that dex you bring, even if they're harder to find.
But if finding those people is hard, and general socializing is tough. Well, that seems to lead straight into struggle number 5, the tendency to just not get out much.
Right, the avoidance spiral.
Yeah.
If social stuff is draining or unrewarding, what do? You retreat to what you are good at, where you feel competent.
Which often means burying yourself in academic or work.
Work, as the source put it, pouring all that energy into tasks and projects where they can excel and, importantly, get clear validation.
It fills a void, maybe.
It can seem like it does initially, but the big danger here, as the sources point out, is a serious life imbalance. All work, no social integration.
That doesn't sound healthy.
It's often not. It can lead to overwork, burnout, profound unhappiness, and, ironically, really low self-esteem, despite all their abilities.
Wow, low self-esteem. That's counterintuitive.
It is, but if your sense of worth is tied entirely to performance and you're neglecting other human needs like connection, yeah, it can happen. It's a cycle. Work harder to feel good, which isolates you more, making you feel worse, so you work even harder.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Moving away from the social side and more into the internal workings of the mind itself. Struggle 6, being overly analytical. The dreaded paralysis by analysis.
Oh, yes. This is where that incredible analytical strength can really backfire. They get stuck.
Stuck how?
Stuck needing to find the perfect answer, the most correct decision. They can see so many possibilities, so many potential outcomes, pros, cons.
For even simple things.
Oh, definitely. They map out every single angle, every what if, every potential consequence. There's just so much input, as one source vividly put it, that it clogs the output.
So the ability to see everything actually makes it harder to do anything.
Pretty much. Indecisiveness becomes a real issue, not just on big life choices, but small everyday stuff too.
Like what kind of toothpaste to buy?
Or, spending ages figuring out the absolute optimal route to the store, considering traffic probabilities and stoplight timing until you're too mentally worn out to even go. The need for perfection makes simple choices feel huge.
That sounds exhausting, truly.
It is, and it connects to the next one, number 7. The mind constantly craves exercise. It needs stimulation.
This is where the source used that great phrase. The mind has the munchies.
Exactly. A constant hunger for intellectual stimulation. It needs to be engaged, discovering new things, stretching its thinking muscles.
So what's the struggle there? Sounds like a good thing.
The difficulty is finding enough quality stimulation. So much of everyday life, routine tasks, simple jobs, basic logistics feels like already solved problems to them.
The novelty wears off fast.
Very fast. So they're always on the hunt for the next interesting challenge, the next complex problem. But because they learn and process so quickly, the bar for what counts as stimulating gets set incredibly high.
Finding things that genuinely engage them becomes a chore in itself.
It really can. They can end up feeling bored and restless, even in situations others might find perfectly engaging. That search for novelty becomes tiring.
Okay, on to the last one, number 8. And this one feels like it layers on top of all the others, feeling constantly pressured to succeed.
This is a heavy one. It's pressure from within because of their own high standards, but it's also massively amplified by pressure from outside.
Expectations from everyone else.
Constantly. Everyone knows they're the smart one, so there's this expectation, sometimes spoken, sometimes just implied.
Like those examples in the source material? The casual comments?
Yeah, like, so another 4.0 this semester, right? Or drinks are on you when you get Employee of the Month again, huh?
Even compliments can feel like pressure to keep performing at that level.
Exactly. It reinforces this idea that their value is their intelligence and their achievements. So they feel this relentless need to prove it over and over.
Which must feed into perfectionism.
Yeah.
And a massive fear of failure.
A disproportionate fear of failure, absolutely. Failing isn't just a mistake or a learning opportunity. It feels like it threatens their entire identity, the one that's been built up either by themselves or by others.
Wow. Okay, so let's try and pull this together. We've gone through 8 struggles. From social isolation and awkwardness to analysis paralysis and this crushing weight of expectation.
It really underscores that being highly intelligent isn't some kind of golden ticket to an easy life. It often involves navigating some really complex, often hidden difficulties.
And a key theme running through a lot of this seems to be connection, or the lack of it.
I think that's right. The struggle to connect authentically when others might define you just by your intellect, seeing you as a brain, not a whole person.
Or sometimes even, as the sources hinted, kind of villainizing you out of jealousy or misunderstanding.
Yes, that can happen too. And it all feeds back into those feelings of loneliness and disconnection we talked about earlier.
It's a lot to carry, that sense that the thing that makes you unique also makes it hard to belong.
It really is. But there's a final thought from the sources, something important for you, the listener, to maybe chew on, especially if any of this resonates.
Yeah, what's that?
It's about where your validation comes from. It's so easy, especially with all that external pressure, to feel like you are what you achieve or what others expect you to be. But ultimately, others don't validate or create who you are. Only you do. Your worth isn't dependent on constantly proving your intelligence.
There's nothing wrong with you for being who you are. You define yourself.
Yeah.
That's a powerful point to end on.
It's the real challenge, isn't it? Learning to own your intelligence, use that drive, without letting the expectations, internal or external, trap you. That's maybe the ultimate intellectual puzzle to solve.
A perfect thought to leave us with. Thanks for joining this deep dive into, well, the surprising struggles of being brilliant. We'll catch you next time.